I still remember the way she walked in that evening, like sunlight breaking into my quiet house. Lena dropped her bag by the door, smiling like she'd just come from a dream. "Hey, babe," she said softly, kicking off her heels. I smiled back, but something inside me stilled. "Rough day?" She laughed, a little too easily. "You have no idea." Traffic was insane. My boss was yelling about deadlines. "I just want to shower in silence." "Dinner's almost ready," I said. "Your favorite? Garlic pasta?" She hummed. "You're too good to me." Her words sounded sweet, but her tone didn't match. It was like she was reading a line she'd practiced. I watched her walk down the hall, hair bouncing, perfume lingering, something expensive, something new. When the bathroom door shut, I just stood there, the quiet pressing against my chest. My sister Maya's words echoed in my head. "Ethan, you've been off lately. You sure everything's okay with Lena?" I'd laughed then. "Yeah, she's just stressed, but now..." I wasn't sure. 15 minutes later, Lena came out in her robe, towel drying her hair. She caught me watching her and smiled faintly. "Why do you look like you're studying me?" "Because I am," I said. "You've been distant." She paused. "Ethan, don't start." "Start what?" "This." She sighed, sitting on the edge of the bed. The questions. The looks. "You've been paranoid lately." "I'm not paranoid," I said quietly. "I'm noticing things." "Like what?" "You've been smiling more," I said. "But not at me." Her eyes flashed, then softened. "That's not fair. Neither is pretending everything's fine." She looked down. "Ethan, I'm just tired. Please, can we not do this tonight?" I nodded slowly. "Sure." But my gut didn't believe her. We ate dinner in silence. The TV murmured in the background, but neither of us listened. She scrolled through her phone, smiling at the screen once quickly before turning it face down. "Who's that?" I asked. "No one," she said too fast. "Just Maya." I almost smiled at the irony. "Funny. Maya's in the kitchen with us." She froze for a moment, then laughed. "Oh, right. My coworker's name is Maya, too." "Convenient," I muttered. She dropped her fork. "You think I'm lying?" I met her eyes. "I think you're hiding something." For a moment I saw it, the flicker, the panic, but then her expression hardened. "You're losing it, Ethan." "Maybe," I said. "But lies make people crazy." She stood abruptly. "I'm not doing this!" She grabbed her phone and went to the bedroom, slamming the door behind her. I stared at the closed door for a long time, my mind burning. I told myself I trusted her. That love meant believing even when it hurt. But love wasn't supposed to feel this heavy. Hours later, I walked into the dark bedroom. She was asleep, phone clutched under her pillow. Her face looked peaceful, like nothing was wrong. I stood there watching, remembering the way she used to look at me like I was her whole world. Now I wasn't sure I was even in her orbit. I sat on the edge of the bed. The urge to know, to confirm the ache in my chest, grew unbearable. I reached slowly, carefully sliding my hand under her pillow. Her phone was locked, 6 digits away from the truth. I put it back. My heart whispered, "Don't do it." But my mind whispered louder, "You already know." The next morning, I tried to act normal. I made coffee. I joked about her robe smelling like her expensive shampoo. She smiled, kissed my cheek, and left for work. But something about that kiss, it wasn't love. It was guilt. As soon as she left, I called Maya. She answered on the first ring. "Ethan, you sound weird. Do I?" I asked, "What's going on?" I hesitated. "You ever get the feeling someone you love is slipping away and you can't stop it?" There was silence. Then, "You think Lena's cheating?" I didn't say that. You didn't have to. I ran a hand through my hair. Something's off. Her phone's always locked now. She's smiling more, but never with me. She came home last night smelling like a perfume I've never bought her. "Ethan," Maya said gently, "don't jump to conclusions." Talk to her. I did, and she told me I'm paranoid. Maybe she's just... No, I interrupted. It's in her eyes. She looks at me like she's hiding a whole other world. Maya exhaled. "Then you need to be sure before you do anything stupid." "I know," I whispered. "But how do you prepare yourself to confirm the thing that'll break you?" She was quiet for a long moment. "You don't. You just survive it." That night, Lena came home late again. I was sitting on the couch, pretending to watch TV. "Hey," she said softly, setting down her purse. "Sorry I'm late." We had a meeting that ran long. At 10:30 p.m.? I asked without looking up. She flinched. Yes, Ethan. Not everyone clocks out at 5. Sure, she frowned. What's your problem lately? I don't know, I said flatly. Maybe it's that I don't recognize the person I married. Her voice softened. Ethan, save it, I said, standing up. I'm done pretending your smile means anything anymore. Her eyes filled with tears. You're scaring me. No, I said. I think you're scared of being caught. Her lips trembled. You're wrong. Then unlock your phone. She froze. Excuse me? You heard me. Prove me wrong. Her silence was all the answer I needed. The clock ticked. My heart felt like glass cracking slowly. Finally, she whispered, I can't do this right now, and walked away. I sat there, staring at the empty hallway, realizing the truth I'd been avoiding. It wasn't paranoia. It was clarity. Her smile that night wasn't love. It was the beginning of the lie that would change everything. It started with a laugh. Not just any laugh, hers. Soft, breathy, the kind that used to belong only to me. I was brushing my teeth when I heard it from the living room. You're so stupid, she said, giggling. Her voice was lighter than it had been in weeks. I wiped my mouth and walked out. Who's that? She froze, phone pressed to her ear. Just Ryan, she said quickly. Ryan? My coworker, she replied, forcing a smile. He's hilarious, I frowned. Didn't know you were that close. We're not, she said. We just joke around. You know how office stuff gets? Right, I muttered. Office stuff, her smile faded. Ethan, don't start. Start what? She sighed, brushing past me. The jealousy. You've been weird lately. I'm not jealous, I said. I just notice things. Like what? She asked sharply. Like how you laugh with him, I said, and how you don't with me anymore. She turned around, eyes flashing. Oh my God, Ethan, do you hear yourself? You're making something out of nothing. Then tell me why your phone lights up at 2 a.m., I said quietly. Her face went pale. Work stuff. Work doesn't text at 2 a.m. You don't know that. I took a step closer. Then show me, she hesitated. Then she shook her head. No, I'm not feeding into your paranoia. Paranoia, I repeated. The word hit me harder than she knew. Yeah, she said. That's what this is. You're acting crazy, I laughed under my breath. Maybe, or maybe you're just a better liar than I thought. Don't, she said softly. Please don't turn us into this. But she already had. That night, she turned off her phone before bed. I lay beside her, staring at the ceiling, listening to her slow, steady breathing. My chest felt like it was caving in. My mind whispered, she's hiding something. My heart whispered, don't prove it. The next day, I tried to be normal. I kissed her cheek before work. She smiled, distracted, already typing something on her phone. At lunch, I called my sister. Ethan? Maya answered. You sound off again. Yeah, I said. I think something's going on with Lena, she sighed. You've been saying that for weeks. This time it's different, I said. She's distant. Her phone's locked tighter than Fort Knox. She laughs at messages and says it's work. And there's this new perfume she wears, like jasmine mixed with something I can't name. It's not hers. Perfume? Maya said slowly. Ethan, you're paying attention to smells now? I'm paying attention to everything, I said, because I feel like I'm losing her and she's not even trying to stop it. Maya went quiet for a moment. Look, I know how much you love her, but sometimes we see monsters where there are shadows. Don't let this consume you. I'm not consumed, I said, though my voice didn't sound convincing even to me. I'm just trying to hold on before everything breaks. Then talk to her again, she said gently. Not with anger, just ask her what's really wrong. That night I did. Lena came home late again, humming, smiling faintly. She smelled like that same perfume. Hey, I said, trying to keep my tone calm. Hey, she said, hanging up her coat. Sorry, another late meeting. With Ryan? She blinked. Excuse me? You mentioned him earlier. The coworker who's apparently hilarious. Yeah, Ethan, Ryan. Her voice sharpened. He's part of my team. That's it. Does your team text you at midnight? Her eyes narrowed. Are we doing this again? I just want the truth. You already decided what the truth is, she said. No matter what I say, you'll twist it. I'm not twisting anything, I said. I'm trying to save what's left of us. She laughed bitterly. Save us? You're destroying us with your insecurity. I wouldn't be insecure if you didn't act guilty. She slammed her phone on the counter. I'm done explaining myself. If you can't trust me, maybe you don't deserve me. Her words stung deeper than I expected. You really think that? I think you've turned into someone who looks for pain where there isn't any, she said quietly. I stepped closer. And I think you've turned into someone who hides pain she's caused. Her lip trembled, but she didn't reply. She just walked past me straight to the bedroom. The door closed softly, like even the house didn't want to hear us anymore. I stood there in the kitchen, staring at the empty space where she'd been. My reflection in the window looked like a stranger. The next day, I came home early from work. Her car was in the driveway, but the house was quiet. I heard her voice upstairs, low, careful laughing. Yeah, I miss you too, she whispered. I froze. My chest tightened. Can't talk long, she said. He's home early sometimes now. I stepped closer to the stairs. My foot creaked against the wood. Silence. Then the sound of a call ending. When I entered the bedroom, she was sitting on the edge of the bed, phone face down, pretending to scroll. Who was that? I asked. No one. Ryan? She looked up sharply. Why do you keep saying his name like it's poison? Because it is, I said. Because you smile when you hear it. Because I hear your voice soften when you say it. Because I see the way you glow when you text him. Stop it, she whispered. Then tell me I'm wrong. She looked at me for a long moment, eyes glossy. You're wrong, I waited. But she couldn't hold my gaze. That night, I sat in the dark living room, unable to sleep. The air felt heavy, like the house itself was holding its breath. From the bedroom came a faint buzz, her phone vibrating. I didn't move. I didn't need to. I already knew the truth was right there, glowing in the dark, whispering in the spaces where love used to live, and for the first time I realized silence could sound a lot like betrayal. I was in the middle of replying to an email when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. No name, no context, just a photo. At first I thought it was spam. But then I saw her, Lena, laughing, her head tilted back, sunlight on her face. And beside her, Ryan, his arm around her waist like it belonged there. They were standing on a beach, barefoot, the waves touching their feet. My stomach dropped. I stared so long the screen dimmed. My thumb trembled as I brought the phone closer, like maybe the pixels would lie if I looked harder. No, I muttered under my breath. No, this can't be. I opened the photo again. The timestamp at the corner read last weekend. She said she was at a team meeting. Long hours, boring stuff, she told me. I remember wishing her luck, telling her not to stress. She'd smiled, kissed my cheek, and walked out the door, the same smile now glowing beside another man. I called Maya. My voice came out rough. Hey, you home? Yeah, she said. Why do you sound like you haven't slept in a week? I just got a picture, I said. Someone sent it to me. What kind of picture? Of Lena and Ryan at a beach. The silence on the other end lasted long enough to feel like judgment. Oh, Ethan, Maya finally whispered. Are you sure it's her? I'd know that smile anywhere, I said. It's her. It's definitely her. Okay, she said softly. Listen to me. Don't jump to conclusions. People take photos together all the time. Maybe it's a work event? Barefoot on a beach? I snapped. Her hand's in his hair, Maya. All right, she said, sighing. Then you need to talk to her, face to face. But calm, okay? Calm, I repeated, though the word felt foreign. My pulse was pounding in my ears. By the time Lena came home that night, I'd spent hours staring at that photo, zooming in, looking for excuses, for context, for anything that could make it less what it was. The front door opened. Her laughter filled the hallway. Ethan, you here? I didn't answer. I sat at the dining table, the phone face up beside me, that picture waiting like a loaded gun. She walked in, tossing her purse on the couch. Wow, you look serious. Everything okay? I looked up at her. Where were you last weekend? She blinked. Last weekend? I told you, I had that off-site meeting with Ryan's team. At a hotel? I asked. She frowned. Yeah, why? Was it near water? Ethan, she said, forcing a laugh. What's with the interrogation? Answer the question. She crossed her arms. It was a resort, okay? By the beach. The company booked it. You know how these retreats are, my fingers tapped the phone. And were there pictures? She hesitated. Just a flicker, but I saw it. Maybe, why? I turned the screen toward her. The color drained from her face. Where did you get that? She whispered. Someone sent it, I said. Didn't sign their name, just this. You and him. That's not what it looks like, she said quickly. Then tell me what it looks like, I shot back. Because from here, it looks like you and your coworker had a romantic weekend while your husband thought you were in meetings. Her jaw clenched. You're twisting things, am I? Yes, she snapped. You're paranoid, Ethan. This is exactly what Maya was talking about, isn't it? You're letting your insecurity ruin us. My chest tightened. You knew I talked to Maya? She paused, and again, too long. You think I don't know when my own husband's been acting strange? You've been distant, suspicious, going through my things. I didn't go through anything, I said, standing. Someone sent me proof. You think I wanted this? Her voice rose. It's nothing. We were celebrating after a long day. Everyone was there, Ethan. Everyone? I asked. Then show me the group picture. Show me the one where you're not wrapped around him like you belong to him. She turned away, rubbing her temples.
You're being ridiculous. I stepped closer.
Then say it. Look me in the eye and tell me I'm wrong. She didn't. Her silence was heavier than any confession. I trusted you, I said quietly. Every single night you came home late, I told myself you were tired, that you were working hard, that you still loved me. She turned back, tears gathering but not falling. I do love you. No, I said. You love the idea of being loved. You love the safety I give you. But him? I pointed at the picture. That's who you smile for now. Her lips trembled. You don't understand what's been happening between us. Oh, I understand, I cut her off. I've been feeling it for months. The distance, the excuses, the way you pull away when I touch you. Ethan, please, she whispered. Can we talk about this tomorrow? I can't right now. Tomorrow, I repeated, the word bitter on my tongue. Right, because tonight the truth's too inconvenient. I picked up the phone, staring at the frozen image once more, her laughter, his hand, the ocean behind them. Every memory we'd ever built started burning down inside me. She reached out, her fingers brushing my arm. Ethan, I stepped back, her eyes widened. Don't do this. Don't make this into something it's not. It already is, I said softly. You just don't want to admit it. The clock ticked between us. I looked at her one last time, the woman I thought I knew. How long? I whispered. Have you been lying to me, Lena? Her smile finally faded. Say it again, I said, my voice barely steady. Tell me that picture doesn't mean what it looks like. Lena stood frozen near the kitchen counter, her hands shaking. It's an old photo, Ethan, from months ago. It was a work trip and everyone was there. Months ago, I snapped. You said it was last weekend. You can't even keep your lies straight anymore. She took a deep breath, her lips trembling. I didn't lie. I didn't think it mattered anymore. Didn't matter? I stepped closer, my heartbeat pounding so hard it hurt. You're in his arms, Lena. You're laughing like I've never seen you laugh in years. And you're telling me it doesn't matter? Her eyes filled with tears. Ethan, please. You don't understand what it's been like. You've been distant, cold. Don't you dare put this on me, I cut her off. Every night you came home late, I stayed up waiting. Every time you said you were too tired, I told myself it was stress. I believed you. I never meant to hurt you, she whispered. Then what did you mean to do? I shouted. What exactly were you trying to do, Lena? Was it an accident every time you texted him under the table? Was it unintentional when you laughed at his messages and turned away when I walked in? She flinched. Stop yelling. I can't, I said. Because if I stop, I might actually listen to the part of me that still loves you. And that part's dying right now. She covered her face with her hands. I don't know what to say. Then tell me the truth, I said, quieter now, leaning forward. Did you love him? Her silence told me more than words ever could. I swallowed hard. How long? Her voice cracked. It started months ago. After your promotion. You were so busy, always away. I felt invisible. So you decided to fix that by sleeping with someone else? I said, my throat burning. That's your definition of feeling seen? I didn't plan it, she said, tears streaming now. He made me feel alive again. Alive, I repeated, the word tasting like ash. And I made you feel what? Bored? Trapped? Too safe? Don't twist it like that, she cried. You stopped looking at me the way you used to. You were always tired, always distracted. You needed him, I interrupted. Just say it. I needed someone who saw me, she whispered. Someone who made me feel wanted. The silence that followed was deafening. I could hear the refrigerator hum, the rain starting outside. My chest ached like something inside me had cracked open. You could have told me, I said quietly. You could have said you weren't happy. I tried, she said. You just didn't listen, I laughed, bitter, sharp. You mean I didn't hear you flirting over text while you were lying next to me? Her expression twisted. You don't know what it's like to feel empty in your own marriage. I stared at her. And you don't know what it's like to wake up one morning and realize the person you built your life around is a stranger. Her sobs grew harder. Ethan, please, I didn't want this to happen. I didn't want to fall for him. But you did, I said. You chose to. She shook her head violently. No, I didn't choose. Yes, you did, I said, cutting her off again. Every text, every lie, every time you turned off your phone when I asked who you were talking to, that was a choice. Her breathing came fast. I just wanted to feel something again. I looked at her for a long time. The woman I used to know. The woman who used to trace her fingers across my chest in the mornings, whispering that we'd last forever, and now she was standing in front of me, confessing she'd found that feeling in someone else's arms. Do you love him? I asked. She hesitated, tears falling. I don't know anymore, I exhaled slowly. That's the worst part. Because I do. I still love you even now and I hate myself for it. Ethan, I stepped back, shaking my head. Don't. Just don't. There's nothing left to say. She reached for my hand. Please don't walk away. We can fix this. Fix? I almost laughed again. You don't fix betrayal, Lena. You survive it, she sobbed, clutching her chest. Please. I'm sorry. I looked at her one last time, and all I could see was the photo. The smile, the ocean, the hand around her waist. It wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. I grabbed my coat and keys. She called my name, but it sounded distant. Where are you going? She cried. I don't know, I said. But I can't stay here. Not tonight, I opened the door. The cold air hit my face, a strange relief from the suffocating silence behind me. Ethan, please, she shouted. Don't leave me like this! I turned once more, meeting her tear-filled eyes. You already did. I walked out into the rain, my legs trembling, my heart hollow. The door clicked shut behind me, a sound louder than thunder. I didn't know where I was driving. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the wheel. I pulled over near the old park, the one we used to go to when things were simple. That's where my phone rang. Ethan? It was David's voice. Maya called. She said something happened. I took a deep breath, staring through the windshield at the empty swings. Yeah, I said. Something happened. You want me to come over? Please, I whispered. I don't want to be alone tonight. Stay where you are, he said gently. I'm on my way. I hung up, staring at my reflection in the rain-covered glass, a man who no longer recognized the life he was living, and for the first time in years, I felt nothing at all. The house was too quiet. Even the clock on the wall seemed afraid to tick too loud. Lena's shoes weren't by the door anymore, her perfume had faded, but her presence still haunted every inch of the place. I sat on the couch, staring at the empty spot beside me. So this is what peace feels like, I muttered. Empty. When my phone buzzed, I almost didn't answer. It was Maya. Ethan, she said softly. How are you holding up? I'm fine, I lied. Don't do that, she sighed. You sound like a ghost. I guess I am, I said. A ghost in my own house. There was a pause. Did she move out? Yesterday. Said she needed time to figure things out. I laughed bitterly. You know what that means. She's with him, isn't she? I rubbed my forehead. Probably. I didn't ask. Why not? Because I don't need to hear it out loud. The silence already told me everything. She was quiet for a moment. I hate what she did to you. Don't, I said. Hate's useless. I already spent enough energy loving her. I don't want to waste the rest hating her. You sound calm, she said suspiciously. Too calm. Calm or broken. I can't tell the difference anymore. After we hung up, I sat there, scrolling through my phone, old photos, trips, birthdays. Her smile filled the screen, and for a second, I almost felt warmth again. Then I hit delete every single one. When the last picture disappeared, I stared at the blank gallery like it was some kind of graveyard. That's when David called. "Man, you sound awful," he said bluntly. "You eating anything or just drowning in coffee and regret?" "I'm fine," I repeated. "Stop saying that." "You're not. I've been through a breakup, but this..." He hesitated. "This was betrayal. It's different." "Yeah," I said quietly. "It's like being robbed while you're still holding the door open for them," he exhaled. "You should expose her, or him. Post that photo online, tell the world what they did. People like that deserve it." "I thought about it," I admitted. "But I don't want revenge that cheap." "Cheap?" "Yeah, going public, shouting online, that's noise. And noise fades. I want silence. The kind that lasts." David was quiet for a second. "You really think karma's gonna handle it?" "It always does," I said. "Eventually," he sighed. "You're a better man than me. I'd have burned everything to the ground." "I already did," I whispered. "Just not the way you think." That night, I sat in the dark with a glass of water, staring at the reflection of a man I barely recognized. My face looked older, heavier. But there was something else, a strange steadiness in my eyes. Maybe this was what healing looked like. Ugly, slow, quiet. I started cleaning the next morning. Threw away the coffee mugs she loved, folded the blanket she always stole. Every little thing I touched carried her fingerprints. "Stop haunting me," I muttered under my breath, tossing her favorite scarf into a box. By the time I finished, my living room looked different, lighter, still painful, but breathable. I texted Maya. "I think I'm finally done with her stuff," she replied instantly. "Good. Now start filling the space with you." I smiled faintly, trying. Later, David dropped by with takeout. He didn't say anything at first, just handed me a burger and sat down. "So," he said between bites, "you gonna start over or stay in hermit mode forever?" "I don't know yet." "You could move." "Fresh start." "This is my house," I said firmly. "I built this place. I won't give it up because of her," he nodded. "Fair enough." We ate in silence for a while. Then he said, "You still love her, don't you?" I didn't answer. He sighed. "Yeah, thought so." "I can't switch it off overnight," I said quietly. "But every day it hurts a little less." "That's progress," he said. When he left, I sat outside on the porch listening to the rain. The sky was gray, heavy, the kind of weather that used to make her curl up beside me with coffee. Now it just reminded me how peaceful silence could be when it wasn't filled with lies. My phone buzzed again, a message from Lena. "I hope you're okay." I stared at it for a long time. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. Then I locked the screen and set it down. No reply. Not this time. The next morning, I woke up before dawn and went for a walk. The streets were empty, the world still half asleep. I could hear my footsteps echoing, each one sounding steadier than the last. I stopped by a cafe we used to go to. The barista smiled, asked if I wanted the usual. I thought about it for a second, then said, "No, something new." When I sat by the window, sipping coffee that didn't taste like memory, I realized I hadn't thought about her face for a full 5 minutes. That was something. Maya called again later. "How's my emotionally recovering brother doing?" "Better," I said. "Still angry sometimes. Still sad, but not broken. That's good," she said. "You're healing, Ethan." "Yeah," I said softly. "I think I am." There was a pause before she spoke again. "You know what's weird?" "What?" "You sound lighter. Like you're finally breathing again." "Maybe I am." After we hung up, I looked around the house one more time. The silence was still there, but it didn't hurt anymore. It just was. I stood in the middle of the living room, sunlight pouring through the window, and whispered to myself, "I'll be okay." And for the first time in a long time, I actually believed it. It had been 4 months. 4 quiet, clean months. I had learned how to make peace with silence, how to live without checking my phone every 10 minutes. Then one morning, David called, his voice half shocked, half amused. "Ethan," he said, "you won't believe this." "I don't believe much these days," I said, sipping my coffee. "Try me." It's about Ryan. I didn't even flinch at the name anymore. What about him? He's been caught, cheating. On Lena. I blinked. You're kidding. Nope. Apparently, the guy had a whole lineup. Different cities, different stories. It's blowing up online. One of the women posted screenshots. I leaned back in my chair. Guess karma doesn't knock loud. Just quiet enough for you to hear when you're still. David whistled. Man, I thought you'd be happy. I'm not happy, I said. Just peaceful? Peaceful? Yeah, because now she knows what it feels like. He laughed. You've gone full Zen monk. Maybe. Or maybe I just ran out of pain. After we hung up, I scrolled through my phone out of curiosity. It didn't take long. Her name was everywhere. A few posts from mutual friends, some gossip threads. There she was in a photo, eyes red, face pale. The same woman who once walked out my door saying she needed space. Got it now, Lena? I whispered to myself. A few hours later, a notification appeared. Her message. Lena, I don't deserve a reply, but I need to say I'm sorry. I stared at it for a long time. My thumb hovered, then I locked my screen. An hour later, another message. Lena, you were right about him. I should have listened. I thought I mattered to him, then another. Lena, I never stopped caring about you. I just lost myself in another. Lena, please, can we talk, just once? I didn't answer any of them. That night I met Maya for dinner. She noticed the calm on my face right away. You heard about Lena? She asked. Yeah, and? I didn't reply. Her eyebrows lifted. That's new. Old Ethan would have written an essay. Old Ethan wanted to fix everything. I said quietly. New Ethan doesn't, she smiled sadly. That's growth. Painful but real. I took a slow sip of water. She broke me down until all I could do was rebuild. Now I'm standing, and she's the one crawling through the wreckage. Karma didn't need my help. She texted you, didn't she? 4 times, I said. And I read every word in silence. Maya leaned forward. And? It felt powerful, not cruel. Just final. When I got home, another message waited. Lena, I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know I regret everything. I turned my phone face down and went to bed. For the first time in months, I slept without waking up at 3 a.m. with her name echoing in my head. The next morning, I went jogging. The air was crisp, the city still half asleep. With every step, I felt lighter. Free, even. Halfway through the run, I saw David's name pop up again. You're trending, man, he said, laughing. What? Well, not you, but your silence. Lena posted some poetic caption about losing the man who loved her right. Everyone's speculating. Half her followers are calling her out, I chuckled. And the other half? Probably wondering who the hell you are. Let them. He paused. You really don't want to say anything? What would I even say, David? Told you so? That's not healing. That's just noise. Damn, he muttered. You've changed. I had to, I said. Pain changes people, but silence shapes them. That evening, I got one last message from her. Lena, I saw you at the cafe today. You looked happy. I'm glad you're okay. I hadn't seen her. Maybe she'd passed by quietly, like a ghost revisiting a grave she once dug herself. I didn't reply. Not out of spite, just acceptance. Later that week, Maya dropped by my apartment. She noticed the plants by the window, the clean counters, the framed photo of me and her from last month. You're really living again, she said softly. I guess I am. She looked at me for a long moment. Do you ever miss her? Sometimes, I said honestly, but not who she became. I miss who I thought she was. That's fair, I smiled faintly.
You know what's strange?
The silence I used to hate. I love it now. It's honest. Doesn't lie to me, she squeezed my shoulder. That's called peace, Ethan. When she left, I stood at the window, watching the city lights flicker in the distance. I thought about how love had once filled me, how betrayal had hollowed me out, and how quiet had rebuilt me. Maybe karma didn't come with thunder or fire. Maybe it came as softly as a sigh, showing up when you'd already stopped waiting for it. That night, as I lay in bed, my phone buzzed one last time. A new message from Lena. Lena, I finally understand what you meant when you said silence hurts louder. I smiled to myself, placed the phone on the nightstand, and turned off the light. Yeah, I whispered into the dark. It does. And for the first time, I didn't feel the urge to reply, because I'd already said everything I needed to by saying nothing at all. The restaurant buzzed with quiet excitement, soft music, murmurs, clinking glasses. I stood behind the bar, straightening my tie for the 5th time. It was opening night. Months of work, plans, sleepless nights. And now it was real. Maya leaned close and whispered, "You look like a man about to meet his destiny." I smirked. "Or his nerves," she laughed. "Relax, chef. You earned this." I nodded, scanning the room. Familiar faces, business partners, friends. And then my breath caught. Lena. She stood near the entrance in a pale blue dress, clutching her purse like she wasn't sure if she belonged here. Her eyes met mine, and for a moment time folded in on itself. Maya noticed. "Is that—" "Yeah," I said softly. "That's her. You want me to—" "No," I interrupted. "Let her come." Lena walked slowly toward me, every step careful. When she reached the counter, she forced a small smile. "Hi, Ethan. Hi, Lena. You look—" "Different. I said. "It's been a while." She glanced around. "This place is beautiful. I mean, really beautiful. You did all this yourself?" "With a good team," her eyes shimmered. "I always knew you'd make it." I tilted my head. "No, you didn't." She flinched, then looked down. "Fair enough." For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. The sound of laughter and glasses filled the silence between us. She finally whispered, "I came to say congratulations." "Thank you," I said, pouring a drink for a guest nearby. "It means something. Coming from you." Her voice trembled. "You hate me, don't you?" I set the bottle down. "No, I don't waste energy on hate anymore." She gave a sad smile. "That almost hurts more." I looked at her. "That's not my intention." "Then what is?" "Peace." Her eyes searched my face, desperate.
You really moved on, didn't you?
I didn't answer immediately. Instead, I leaned on the counter, speaking slowly. "You know what's strange? I used to dream about this, you coming back, realizing what you lost. But now that it's happening, I just feel calm." She blinked fast. "Ethan, please. Don't be like this." I made a mistake. I was confused, and he— "Don't," I said gently. "Don't talk about him." "That story's over." Her lips quivered. "I miss you," I nodded. "I believe you. I'm serious. I think about you every day." "I'm sure you do." She frowned. "You don't believe in second chances?" "I believe in growth," I said. "And I've grown into someone who doesn't fit where we left off." She stepped closer, her perfume faintly familiar. "Ethan, I was stupid." "You were the best thing that ever happened to me." I smiled faintly. "I used to beg you to see that." Tears filled her eyes. "And now, I'm not the man who begged you to stay anymore." The words hung between us, quiet, sharp, final. She stared at me like I'd just taken the ground from under her feet. "You really don't feel anything?" "I feel gratitude," I said softly. "You broke me down, but I rebuilt myself better. That's something to thank you for." Her lip trembled. "You're cruel." "No," I said. "I'm kind, finally, to myself." Maya appeared beside me with 2 champagne glasses, sensing the tension but saying nothing. She placed one in front of me and walked off. Lena followed her with her eyes, then turned back to me. "She's pretty. She's good to me," I said. "Is she your—" "She's part of my peace." Lena's tears spilled then, rolling down her cheeks silently. "You were supposed to be mine." "I was," I said quietly. "But you were too busy chasing someone else's shadow." Her voice cracked. "Ethan, I didn't mean to hurt you." "I know," I said. "But intention doesn't erase impact." She covered her face with her hands. "God, I ruined everything." I sighed, keeping my tone gentle. "Maybe. Or maybe this is exactly how it needed to end. For both of us to find who we really are." "Do you forgive me?" She whispered. "I already did," I said. "That's how I moved on." Her shoulders shook. "You make it sound so easy." "It wasn't," I said. "But peace never comes cheap." Guests started clapping from the other side of the room. The mayor had just made a toast, calling my name. Maya gestured for me to join them. I looked back at Lena. "I should go." She nodded, wiping her eyes. "I'm proud of you, Ethan." I smiled kindly. "You should be proud of yourself, too. For showing up." She looked at me like she wanted to say more, but no words came. Instead, she turned and walked toward the door. Slow, quiet, like she was carrying every regret she'd ever ignored. I watched her pause at the entrance. For a moment, she looked back, eyes glistening under the warm lights. I lifted my glass slightly, a silent goodbye. She smiled through her tears and disappeared into the night. Maya came up beside me again. "You okay?" "Better than okay," I said, exhaling. That was closure. She studied me. "You didn't even flinch." "I did," I admitted. "Inside." But it wasn't pain, and it was peace. The applause grew louder. Maya nudged me toward the crowd. "Go, chef. Your people are waiting." As I stepped onto the small stage, I glanced once more toward the door. It was empty now, just the soft glow of the city beyond it. I raised my glass. "To new beginnings," I said, and somewhere out there I hoped Lena found hers too, because mine had just begun. I woke up to sunlight spilling through the blinds, the smell of roasted coffee drifting from the kitchen. Life felt quiet now, not empty, just still. The kind of peace I used to think only existed in other people's stories. David sat across from me at the cafe, scrolling through his phone. "You ever think about her anymore?" he asked suddenly. I smirked. "That depends." "Which her?" He raised an eyebrow. "Don't play dumb, Lena." I stirred my coffee. "Not really. Sometimes she crosses my mind, but only like an old song, one you used to love, but now you skip." David nodded slowly. "That's growth, man." "Or self-defense," I said with a half smile. "Maybe both," he leaned back. "You know, I always wondered how you managed to forgive her." I thought about it for a second. I didn't do it for her. I did it so she'd stop owning space in my head. Before he could respond, my phone buzzed on the table. Unknown number. One photo. No text, I frowned. "That's strange," David leaned over. "What is it?" I opened it and froze. It was Lena, sitting alone in a corner cafe, staring down at an empty coffee cup. Her eyes looked lost, her hair slightly messy, makeup smudged. The table across from her was empty. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Not because it hurt, but because it didn't. David glanced at the screen. "That's her, right?" "Yeah," I said quietly. "Who sent it?" "No idea," he squinted. "Weird. You think she meant to—" "No," I said, shaking my head. "This isn't from her. She wouldn't send this." He looked at me. "You okay?" I studied the photo again, her hands clasped like she was waiting for someone who'd never show. The irony wasn't lost on me. "I remember when that was me," I said softly, sitting there, waiting for a text that never came, asking questions that only silence answered. David leaned closer. "And now?" "Now," I said, a small smile forming. "I finally understand silence isn't cruel. It's peaceful," he chuckled. "Man, you sound like a monk." "Maybe Heartbreak was my monastery," I replied. He laughed, then grew serious. "So what are you going to do with that picture?" I looked at it one last time. The same kind of picture that once tore my world apart. Back then it meant betrayal. Now it meant closure. Without hesitation, I swiped left and deleted it. David blinked. "Just like that?" "Just like that," I said. "Some things don't need an audience anymore." He nodded, watching me carefully. "You really let go." "I had to," I said. "Holding on was like carrying ashes. It keeps you from opening your hands to anything new." He smiled. "You ever think she regrets it?" I shrugged. "Probably, but regret's her journey, not mine." We sat there for a while, the sound of cups clinking around us, people laughing, life moving on. After a few minutes, David said, "You know what's crazy? That picture, it's like the first one all over again. Except this time, I interrupted gently, it's her turn to stare into the silence." He nodded. "Poetic justice," I chuckled. "No, just balance," he smirked. "You really are a changed man." "Yeah," I said, sipping my coffee. "Guess pain does that." The afternoon light hit the window just right, scattering gold across the table. For the first time in years, I felt weightless. Not the fake kind that comes from pretending to move on, but the real kind that only comes after you've forgiven yourself for staying too long. I looked out the window, watching strangers walk past. Laughter, noise, stories beginning and ending every second. David tapped his cup. "You ever think of texting her back? Just to say you're doing fine?" I smiled. She already knows, he tilted his head. How? Because silence, I said, setting my cup down, is louder than any reply. He grinned. Man, that's deep. It's honest, I said. You don't owe closure to someone who shattered it first? The conversation faded as a waiter passed by, refilling our cups. I stared into the swirl of dark coffee, seeing my reflection ripple with light. Once, that reflection was a stranger. Broken, desperate, clinging to someone who no longer saw him. Now it was just me, whole, steady, quiet. My phone buzzed again. Another notification, maybe spam. I ignored it this time. David glanced at me. You're not curious? No, I said. I've seen enough pictures for one lifetime. He laughed. Fair. As we stood to leave, I glanced at the door, half expecting her to appear like before. But she didn't. The world didn't pause. The music didn't stop. Nothing dramatic happened, and that, I realized, was the beauty of it. Some endings don't need noise. Some revenge doesn't need fire. Sometimes it's just peace, soft, quiet, patient. As we stepped out into the sunlight, I whispered to myself, some pictures don't hurt anymore, that they remind you how far you've come. And for the first time, I believed it.